All seniors across the entire United States need to be aware, as a 14-day freeze on your bank account could hit at any given time, completely disrupting your financial life and all your money in your bank account. This is not some hypothetical situation that might happen in the future. This is happening right now today. What is going on is serious, with people all across the country being blindsided by this. It is occurring in over half of the states across the entire United States, where a new rule allows banks and financial institutions to literally freeze accounts for 14 days and, in some instances, upwards of 30 days, as of right now in the year 2026. Think about that for a second. 30 days without access to your own money. 30 days where you cannot pay your bills. You cannot withdraw cash. You cannot do anything with your money because your bank has decided to freeze your account. That is a month of your life where your finances are essentially locked up. This is not some rare occurrence. It is happening to thousands of people right now. This new rule came in at the beginning of 2026 and is already impacting people all across the country. Based on messages received, many have no idea this even exists until it happens to them. This whole rule was implemented to safeguard seniors. Generally, those people 60 to 65 and above are the ones really being focused on with this. The intentions behind this rule are good. They are trying to protect seniors from losing their life savings to scammers. That is a noble goal, but as we all know, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. They are trying to safeguard seniors by freezing your bank account for 2 weeks, or maybe even a month's worth of time. Do you feel like that would safeguard seniors? It depends on how you look at it. Because here is the deal, and this is where it gets really problematic. When your bank account and your money is frozen, no money can come in, no money can go out. Nothing. Zero transactions. It is like your account does not even exist for those 2 to 4 weeks. What does that mean for the finances of the people that are being impacted by it? That is a nasty situation. Some very negative ramifications could come out of that. Your mortgage payment bounces. Your electric bill does not get paid. Your car payment is late. You are trying to buy groceries and your debit card gets declined at the checkout. Your Social Security deposit comes in, but you cannot access it. These are real consequences that real people are facing right now. This rule is to safeguard seniors from all kinds of new scams that are coming across the country. Before going any further, it is uncomfortable but absolutely critical to understand something. If you are a senior, generally if you are 60, 65 plus, you are literally who they try to target. You are literally who the scammers are going after. This is not an opinion. This is statistical fact. The FBI, the FTC, every consumer protection agency has the data to back this up. Seniors are the #1 target for financial scams in this country. The reason being is seniors generally have a reputation of having money. Now, that is not the case for everybody. There are seniors struggling to make ends meet. There are seniors living on fixed incomes who are barely getting by. But the reputation on those people in their 60s and above is that they have probably stockpiled a whole bunch of money in savings over their working years. They are probably collecting Social Security every month. Maybe they are getting a pension check from their former employer. They are just known to be a cohort of our population that generally has money. Again, that is not the case for everybody, but that is just in general terms. That is the perception. That is what scammers believe. And so, they go after what they think are the deep pockets, seniors. But here is what makes it even worse. Scammers also target seniors because, and this is hard to hear, but statistically, seniors are more vulnerable to certain types of scams. Not because they are not intelligent. Many seniors are incredibly sharp and savvy, but because the technology has changed so dramatically. The way scams work today is completely different from 20, 30, 40 years ago. When you grew up, if someone called you and said they were from the bank, they probably were. If someone sent you an official-looking letter, it was probably official. Today, scammers can spoof phone numbers to make it look like the call is coming from your bank, from Social Security, from the IRS, from anywhere. They can create fake websites that look identical to real ones. They can use AI to clone voices so perfectly that you would swear you are talking to your actual grandson when it is really a scammer. The game has changed, and scammers know that many seniors have not caught up with how sophisticated these scams have become. They have implemented this new rule, and again, this is all across the country. Over half of the states across the country have implemented this, allowing banks and financial institutions to come in and freeze bank accounts of seniors if they see suspicious activity, and they think it is going to result in one of these grandparent scams. These are really nasty. These are absolutely devastating to the people who fall victim to them. Let me explain how a grandparent scam works, because you need to understand this. You get a call. The person on the other end sounds exactly like your grandson. Maybe they are crying. Maybe they sound panicked. They say, "Grandma, I am in trouble. I was in a car accident. I am in jail. I need bail money. But please do not tell Mom and Dad. They will kill me. I need you to send $5,000 to this account right now, or I am going to be stuck here." And because you love your grandson, because you are scared for him, because you want to help, you immediately go to your bank and wire that money, and boom, it is gone forever. That was not your grandson. That was a scammer using AI voice cloning technology. Your real grandson is fine sitting at home playing video games, but your $5,000 is gone and you are never getting it back. Or if it is a romance scam, one of these types of scams that focuses on and targets seniors, these are even more insidious. Someone reaches out to you on Facebook, on a dating site, wherever. They are charming. They are attentive. They remember details about your life. They ask about your day. Maybe you are lonely. Maybe your spouse passed away. Maybe you are just looking for companionship. And slowly, over weeks or months, they build a relationship with you. Then they have a crisis. They need money for a medical emergency. They need money to come visit you, but their credit card was stolen. They need money for their daughter's surgery. And because you have built this relationship, because you care about this person, you send money and you keep sending money. People have lost $50,000, $100,000, their entire retirement savings to these romance scams. It is heartbreaking. If they suspect that if a transaction, an outbound transaction, as in money leaving your account, is tied to one of these things, they have it in their discretion, as in your bank, they can freeze your account for up to 14 days for a manual review of that money that is going out to basically ensure and verify where that money is actually going, and that it is actually legit, and they are not sending it off to some scammer somewhere else out across the globe. So, let me break down exactly how this works, because the details matter here. Let us say you are trying to send a wire transfer for $8,000. That is a significant amount of money, but it is not crazy. Maybe you are helping a family member with a down payment on a car. Maybe you are paying for home repairs. Maybe you are making a large purchase. Does not matter. The point is, it is your money, and you have a legitimate reason to send it. Your bank's system flags this transaction as potentially suspicious. Maybe it is because you do not normally send wire transfers. Maybe it is because of the amount. Maybe it is because of where the money is going. The algorithm, and yes, it is usually an automated system making this initial determination, decides this looks like it could be a scam. Boom. Your account is frozen. Not just that transaction, your entire account. Every penny you have in that bank is now inaccessible. Your debit card stops working. Your checks bounce. Any automatic payments you have set up fail. Any money coming in, including your Social Security deposit, might get delayed or returned, and then you wait. You wait for a human being at the bank to manually review your transaction and determine whether it is legitimate. This review process is supposed to take up to 14 days, but as we are seeing in reality, it often takes longer. Some people are reporting 20, 25, 30 days before their accounts are unfrozen. So, again, this whole thing is to protect the senior. The bank is trying to save you from yourself. Essentially, they are trying to make sure you are not sending your life savings to a scammer. And again, the intention is good. I want to keep emphasizing that because I do not want to completely trash this rule. It will save some people from losing everything. That is a fact. Now, here is kind of one of the problems with this. Yep, They are trying to safeguard the senior by basically blocking any outgoing payments. But what if somebody needs to send money legitimately to pay a bill? What if you have a mortgage payment due tomorrow and you are trying to send a large payment to pay off a chunk of your mortgage early? What if you are buying a car and you need to wire $15,000 for the down payment and the dealer is expecting that money by Friday, or the deal falls through? Or maybe they are buying a house and they need money for a down payment or closing costs. Real estate transactions involve large sums of money changing hands quickly. What if you are in the middle of buying a home? You are at the closing table. You need to wire $40,000 for your down payment and your bank suddenly freezes your account. The deal falls through. You lose your deposit. You lose the house you have been dreaming about. Again, whatever happens to be just a larger transaction that is maybe not all that typical for your normal spending patterns. If they try to send one of these and their account gets flagged, now their account gets frozen. What happens in that situation? Well, unfortunately, not much we can do about it. They literally just freeze the entire account, and that individual may be submitting a payment that could be late to pay a big bill, or maybe they again want to buy a house or trying to buy a car or some large ticket purchase that typically does not happen every single month. And it seems a little bit suspicious. They may freeze that payment. And here is what really gets me frustrated about this. There is often no warning. You do not get a call saying, "Hey, we are concerned about this transaction. Can you come into the branch and verify it is legitimate?" You do not get an email saying, "Please call us to confirm this payment before we process it." No, you just try to make the payment and then suddenly your card is declined or your wire transfer fails, and when you call the bank, they tell you your account has been frozen and there is nothing you can do but wait. Now, here is what is interesting. As you can see over the years, generally banks and financial institutions have not come forward and actually done this, as in the freezing of outgoing payments, because they fear that they could possibly be sued. And this is a really important point that I want you to understand, because it explains a lot about why this is happening now and why it did not happen before. So, they have not done a whole lot of intervening with these transactions. Historically, if you wanted to wire $50,000 to someone, even if the bank thought it was suspicious, even if the teller thought you were being scammed, they would usually process it anyway because they were afraid of the legal liability. What if they stopped the transaction and you sued them for interfering with your money? What if they were wrong and it was a legitimate payment and you suffered damages because they blocked it? Banks have been in a really difficult position. On one hand, they see seniors getting scammed every single day, losing hundreds of thousands of dollars in aggregate, and they feel terrible about it. On the other hand, if they try to stop it and they are wrong, they could get sued. So for years, they have largely just let these transactions go through, even when they suspected fraud. But with this new rule, they can now come in and do this without risk of potential litigation. Does that make sense? The law now explicitly protects banks from being sued when they freeze accounts in these situations. As long as they are acting in good faith to protect the customer from potential fraud, they have legal immunity from lawsuits. And again, it is all in an effort to protect the senior. The law recognizes that billions of dollars are being stolen from seniors every year through these scams, and something needed to be done. So they gave banks the power and the legal protection to intervene, even if it means temporarily freezing people's accounts. Now, I am going to say this much. It is a good effort. It is a really good effort, and it is really nice that they are trying to do this. I genuinely mean that. The people who wrote this law, who are implementing this rule, their hearts are in the right place. They are trying to solve a real problem, and there is no question that this rule will prevent some people from losing their life savings to scammers. That is good. That is a win. But unfortunately, there is probably going to be some transactions out there that are totally legit. They block it, and for whatever reason, it may cause late penalties or overdraft fees or just all kinds of different things. I foresee some issues coming out of this, and we are already starting to see them in the early months of 2026. Do not get me wrong, it is certainly going to help save some people a whole bunch of money from being scammed. It is definitely going to help that a lot. If even 10% of potential scam victims are saved by this rule, we are talking about hundreds of millions of dollars that stay in seniors' pockets instead of going to criminals. That is significant. That matters. But at the same time, those individuals that are out there doing legitimate transactions, sending money legitimately, may get flagged by this. And with that being said, they may get stuck with some fees. They may get stuck with some whatever happens to be the ramifications of basically their account being frozen. Let me give you some real-world examples of the problems this is causing. People have reported whose rent checks bounced because their accounts were frozen, and now they are facing eviction proceedings. People have reported who had automatic payments set up for their car loans. Those payments failed, and now they have late fees and their credit scores dropped. People have reported who were trying to pay contractors for home repairs. The payments did not go through, and now the contractors have liens on their homes. And again, the whole point of freezing the account is just to get a manual review within the financial institution within your bank, to basically just be like, is this legit? Is this money really going to an authentic, legitimate source? And is this something that the person really wants to do, or is it one of these grandparent scams, a romance scam, whatever it happens to be? Now, let me explain what this manual review process actually looks like, because understanding it might help you if you ever find yourself in this situation. When your account gets flagged and frozen, it goes into a queue for the bank's fraud prevention team. These are actual human beings, trained specialists whose job is to review suspicious transactions and determine whether they are legitimate or potential scams. They are going to look at several factors. First, your transaction history. Do you normally make large wire transfers? If you have never sent a wire transfer in your life and suddenly you are trying to send $20,000, that is going to look suspicious. If you regularly send large transfers, this might not trigger the same level of scrutiny. Second, they will look at where the money is going. Is it going to a known scammer destination? Is it going to an account that has been flagged by other banks? Is it going overseas to a high-risk country? Is it going to an individual or a business? All of these factors matter. Third, they may try to contact you to verify the transaction. This is where it gets tricky. They might call you, but if you do not answer, maybe you are at work, maybe you are at a doctor's appointment, maybe you just do not recognize the number and let it go to voicemail. That can delay the review process. They might send you an email, but if it goes to your spam folder, or if you do not check email regularly, you will not see it. Some banks require you to come into a branch in person to verify the transaction. But what if you are in a rural area and the nearest branch is 50 miles away? What if you do not drive anymore? What if you are physically unable to go to the branch? These are real barriers that real people are facing. There is a ton of these scams out there. We have got grandparent scams, romance scams, lottery scams, IRS scams, social security scams, tech support scams, charity scams. The list goes on, and they are all targeting seniors because that is where the money is. So anyway, even with the implementation of AI, it is getting really bad as well. The voices sound very, very realistic. This is what keeps me up at night. Honestly, the AI technology has advanced to the point where scammers can clone someone's voice with just a few seconds of audio. They grab a video from your grandson's Facebook page where he is talking, they feed it into an AI program, and boom, they can now make calls that sound exactly like him. You got to really watch out for that kind of stuff. If you get a call from someone claiming to be a family member asking for money, here is what you do. Hang up. Do not send money. Call that family member directly on a number you know is theirs. If they say, "Do not tell mom and dad," that is a red flag. If they say, "I need money right now immediately," it is an emergency. That is a red flag. Legitimate emergencies can usually wait 30 minutes for you to verify the situation. Anyway, anytime I come across information like this, I certainly want to bring it to your attention so you can be very, very aware of what is happening and what is going on. The amount of money that they are getting year over year continues to increase by huge percentages, like ridiculously huge percentages of how much more money people are losing. Americans on an annualized basis, It goes up by multiple billions of dollars a year of how much we are losing to scams. In 2024, Americans lost over $12 billion to scams. $12 billion. And that is just the reported losses. The actual number is probably much higher because a lot of people are too embarrassed to report that they have been scammed. They are getting more and more sophisticated. These are not the Nigerian prince emails from 20 years ago that were obviously fake. These are sophisticated operations run by organized crime groups with professional call centers and training programs. They have scripts. They have techniques. They study psychology to figure out how to manipulate people. They are getting more and more professional at stealing money. And with the implementation of AI, they are just getting more and more realistic. The technology is advancing faster than our ability to protect against it. That is the scary truth. We are in an arms race between scammers and security. And right now, the scammers are gaining ground.